that can be done. But does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just kind of getting sick of seeing the government do this and people turn their heads. It's getting old, so.
Well, it's all illegitimate. It's all illegitimate, Justin. I mean, it's totally illegitimate. I mean, I appreciate your call. But, again, I saw a Time magazine article today with a woman writer who had her child grabbed. She's angry. Time magazine, most of their people aren't government agents. Sure, their old editor, that was the editor of Newsweek, people like Strobe Talbot openly call for world government. But most of their people are kind of fellow travelers. They just buy into the mindset. But I've seen New York Times, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Time magazine, hundreds of articles where the reporters are being violated, so they're saying they're dying. Look.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Folks, you've heard us talk about HomeGain before. HomeGain is now offering a special promo where you get up to $150 when you buy or sell a home with a HomeGain agent you find through their Find a Realtor program. HomeGain lets you compare realtors anonymously. It's easy. Go to HomeGain150.com to find and compare realtors anonymously. Enter promo code HomeGain150 and receive up to $150 when you close a deal with a HomeGain agent. Share the HomeGain150 promo code with your friends via Facebook, Twitter, text, and more. Look for Max, the HomeGain Gorilla, to find out more about how HomeGain is going to pay you. Visit HomeGain150.com today to enter your promo code and get paid for buying or selling a house. That's HomeGain150.com. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now, new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want to stop tyranny? Well, so does he. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Well, Rob Dew called up, one of our great cameramen and video editors. He's out there with Jason Douglas at the Austin International Airport, where a lady with a pacemaker who's a sexual assault victim, rape victim, refused to let the woman grab her breast, so they manhandled her, slammed her on the ground, and drug her away to jail. And she's banned from the airport. Now TSA's announced they're going to take over the roadways, the shopping malls. They're going to invade all the public spaces with huge telescreens, giving you orders to spy, just where you're being forced to hear their announcements. This is how we're acclimated. Rob Dew's like, oh, they were pretty nice. They pulled up, and we said, aren't we on a public road? They were not on the property of the airport. And the cops said, yes, give me your IDs. They ran them, of course, put them in a database, all part of being secret police. Probably rapes and robberies going on about a mile away, but who cares? And they told him, well, cops will probably be back later. You better call the airport and ask permission to be out here. But they said, but we don't need permission. So there's your land of the free, home of the brave. Then the cops went on. They said, what are you here for? They said, we're here with Alex Jones. We're here. He has an internet TV show, local TV show, local radio. And we're here to cover all of that. And we're here to show that a lot of the airport employees don't have to go through the TSA screening. So in America, you know, it's normal to have cops ask, what are you doing? Where are you going? Unless you're criminal banks, unless you're big corrupt governments, unless you're DynCorp running giant child kidnapping rings, then, oh, it's admitted they run those. Let's not raid them. No one dare do that. So that's how they operate. That's what they're up to. Let's continue here with your phone calls. Got a lot of big guests coming up, by the way, during this week, but I wanted to just open the phones up today and cover news and rant because I've been gone for a week. Let's go ahead and talk to Sean in New York. Sean, you're on the air.
Hello. Been listening now for, I don't know, a couple of weeks with my wife, and just realized that you might be the guy to call with a question I have.
Sure.
I'm actually an Army medic currently, and I recently tried to go ahead and get a religious exemption for immunizations. Mm-hmm. And my chain of command just straight up pulled me into their office and told me that if I go ahead and push forward with this and deny their quote-unquote lawful orders to go ahead and get immunized, then they're threatening me with universal code of military justice. They're going to take rank and money and so on and so forth.
How many shots a year? How many shots a year do they try to give you?
I can't even keep track of all of them anymore, honestly. And I'm the guy that gives the shots. Like I said, I'm a medic. You know, it's getting tough to keep track of how many they want to give anymore.
All right, you need to do the research on this with just a search engine. They've had large groups of Army doctors, not just Army medics, in the last 15 years, over and over again, say no to the anthrax shots. It was a big fight in Colorado. Turned out the anthrax shots were causing autoimmune responses in the ventricles of the heart and were causing a lot of deaths from heart attacks. That was confirmed, and the shots were suspended. But listen, there's another big wrinkle to this. They can claim that you've waived your rights and will take all inoculations if they're non-experimental. But most of the shots you're given, and you're not told this, that a lot of the generals and people have sweetheart deals, and former generals have sweetheart deals with drug developers. And so they're in the final testing after animals, they're doing it on troops. You know, when you don't have foster kids to do it to, their favorite black foster kids, you know, why not the troops for their, quote, animal testing? That's what Henry Kissinger called you, was dumb animals. And so to give you an idea how ruthless they are, you go back to the field manuals, 85, 89, 91, 96. The Army admitted DU, totally deadly, not just radioactive, but deadly poison. You inhale even a certain micro amount, it will reduce your life massively. It will end up killing you. Now they just say, no problem, no decon needed. No, guys, enjoy. Use it everywhere. They serve it out to you know, more and more munitions. It's the same thing with the vaccines. I've seen reports of some troops being given over 100 vaccines in a year. Now, obviously, they'll go, well, I only got 55 shots. What do you mean 100? Well, some of those shots, as you know, medic, have 3, 4 things in them. And they're doing all these new DNA vaccine tests. That's in Wired Magazine and Reuters the last few months. So they're testing things on you. I had one of Rick Perry's staff. I've seen the guy on TV. He's in his press crew come to Endgame premiere 3.5 years ago. And he admitted, he said, yeah, we had troops come down to the medical installation in San Antonio. This was before he worked for the governor, before he was governor. And he said, we gave them all shots. We were told to give it to them, and they all died. And we were told to put on decon suits, clean out the area. And the guy just said, but I want you to know Rick Perry is still a good man. Rick Perry wasn't involved in the killing of him. The point was, that's what he said. Yes, what you say in this film is true. And he told me the story. So it's just all kind of out in the open that, well, that's what we do. So then you'll remember in 2003, they tried to force all police, all firefighters, all medical workers, all military, all first responders to take smallpox. It, too, caused brain inflammation and seizures and a whole host of neurological disorders. This was all over the news at the time. They tried the New Freedom Initiative, the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act initiative, to try to get first responders trained for forced inoculation of the public. That was mainstream news, but the enforcers wouldn't do it. I saw an LA Times report that 99+% out of 400,000 plus first responders, less than 1%, went along with it. It just came out to a few thousand. You can pull up that LA Times article. But the final equation issue here is, A, they're giving you experimental shots, and they don't want you to read the law and Army regulations that they're not even supposed to give anybody an experimental shot unless you sign a waiver form. That's A. B, they've had whole groups of doctors and a colonel at an air base. I mean, there's been so many cases of it. Just pull them up. Say no. And so they will try to corner you because you're seen as a leader. But I haven't pulled it up lately, but I believe they're supposed to honor religious exemption. Then they have this lie that if you aren't immune, others won't be immune. But if they've all been given the shot, aren't they supposedly immune? They don't want you to know that the Canadian and British government did study last year showing that it reduced your immunity by more than 50% to take the H1N1 shot. It both reduced the immunity for the swine flu and for the regular seasonal flu. And there's more news of that today I'm about to cover. I'm glad you brought that up to remind me. But, you know, it's all a culture of color of law and intimidation. You know, they don't even really teach that you don't have to follow an unlawful order. It's kind of a footnote now. But they can burn you. They can throw you under the bus. I mean, I wouldn't be arrogant, obviously. You sound like a smart, calm guy. I would print up a report, a 2-page summary, and I would put it in nice binders with all the mainstream news articles and where they had to suspend the anthrax and smallpox. Remember, they gave just a few thousand reporters the smallpox, and a bunch of them died? I mean, this is some hardcore stuff. And so I would just print those reports up, and I would go to them, but I would also just search the term military religious exemption from vaccines. In fact, I can do that right now. Here, let me see. Military religious exemption. I mean, they grow a lot of these vaccines in pig parts. I'll guarantee, pig kidneys, I'll guarantee you that Muslims don't have to do it. Military's religious exemption. And it appears that there is, look here, military. Military's trying to change the religious exemption and get rid of it. Let me see. Military changes religious rights. I'd have to read over this, but in the past there has been a religious exemption. But does that answer your question?
Well, the thing is, I already have the regulation for the Army. It's Army Regulation 40-562. You can find it right on Google. It's entitled Immunizations and Chemoprophylaxis. But there's a whole section in there about different types of exemption, medical exemption and administrative exemption.
Yeah, so you have an exemption. I mean, I know last time I checked it was there, so you're saying you do have that, but they're just saying we're going to bust you if you don't.
Exactly.
Man,
exactly.
Well, I mean, that's the same criminal tactic of coercion, and we need to recognize it as criminal, that they told the nurses and the police and the firemen in 2003 with the smallpox, in 99 with the anthrax. It's the same thing. They tried in 1991 with the anthrax. It's the same thing they did last year where they told all the medical workers and people, you've got to take these shots or you'll be fired. When they finally stood up, they didn't fire them because they know there's liability. So that's outrageous. They're telling you, you've got to take whatever we say. What I say is you put it all on the line. This is tyranny. You're a soldier supposedly for the Republic. I would quietly organize people with their rights. It's your right to print off the exemption and then say, I wanted you